Good evening and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen, who's here tonight, and Joe Staples, who's not here tonight. But anyway, got to do with what you got.
Yeah. Well, Joe, get better. Take care of that.
Insulin, do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. We'd like to see you around for a while.
Yeah. Use the third wheel here. We got to get you back in here. Because, it may lead to a fight someday.
Right.
So what's going on with you?
Well, we had a good weekend over at Langley Speedway.
Great weekend at Langley Speedway. That was a pretty good race. Still got a little fuzzy about the Kaz Gralla thing, but
that was a bad call. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That was a bad call. In my opinion, that 19 car, I think he was too slow. He should have been parked. I mean, to me, that's just the bottom line. He was in the way. Kaz was racing for third
at the time, yeah.
And was coming through the field. I think he was probably the only one. I don't know if anybody had anything for the 9 car. Kaz might have had something, but after that penalty, and there was no way he could fight his way back up after that. But it was a good race.
I felt like a fool, though, at the end of the race.
Well, I thought it was every day.
No, you and I walked down the steps there from the place where we were watching it, and over in turn 3 and 4, somebody got bump and run over there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they switched second and third. So I go over there and say, hey, man, y'all did good for a second. He said, no, we finished third.
They lost it between 4 and the flag stand. But that's good short track racing.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But I hate that I missed it, so I didn't,
You couldn't rag on them.
Yeah, so, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But it was a great night. William Byron won the K&N race.
Dominated the K&N race. Led all but one lap.
Yeah, that's right. Sure did. He is definitely, that's his second win at Langley. He won a late model race over there, too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And he'll be back for the Hampton Heat.
Yeah, but they were saying that's his 3rd win in a row, they were saying, in Victory Lane?
That's his 3rd win of the season. Eckert won it, Bowman Gray.
In the K&N car?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how old is this kid?
He is
18, 19?
18, 19, somewhere in that neighborhood, yeah.
Nice kid.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a Dale Jr.
He's part of Dale Jr.'s program and leased out to Turner Scott Motorsports for the K&N series, and he's running Junior's late models, which is,
And I forget how he did over at Langley the other week, but obviously he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
And he's from Carolina.
Mm-hmm. He's from down in that area and done a super job. He's got a young crew chief that worked with him, and Kevin Bellacourt. I didn't know that was who his crew chief. I knew Kevin was on the team, but I didn't know that was his crew chief.
And it's not Turner Scott. It's H. Scott.
H. Scott with Jared Marks. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. I forgot all about that.
Which has a big program, and all the cars, what do they have, 6 cars, 5 cars?
5 or 6 cars there.
They had the front row with, what's the short guy?
Rico Abreu.
Rico. I know he was testing earlier because I seen him on Periscope talking about that.
And there's a big crowd of East guys going to Sonoma this weekend. J.J. Haley's going. Kaz is going. Byron is going. Dalton Sargent's going out there. It's a big group of them going out there this time for that Sonoma race. So that's going to be a good race. They got 38 cars entered. For a K&N race.
They're going to let them all start?
My understanding is only 32.
I would have thought 36.
No, my understanding was with the K&N cars it's 32. So maybe it is different at a road course. It could be different at a road course.
They could fit more on, but yeah.
So I don't know. But it was a good race. I enjoyed it. All the other races were good out there.
We got to give a shout out, and we'll have Justin on later for the hometown team. I think he overachieved compared to what everybody thought Justin was going to do. And we got to say, he represented well. Ran 5th for a good long time, for more than half the race, I believe. And then at the end. It fell back to 7th and was just 4 or 5 car lengths from 4th. They were all right there as they were racing, and at the end they sort of started pulling away. I think it fell back to 8th and then got 7th there at the end. So great job, first time in the K&N car. I know they tested a few weeks ago over there, I believe, but obviously did a really
also,
good job.
Tyler Hughes did a pretty decent job. I mean, he brought the car home, didn't tear it up. The car looked in good shape. But
yeah, and that was our first time with a K&N car. I don't know where the car came from or how old it is and so forth.
But I mean, it's great to know that you could, 2 guys from Langley went out there and at least showed they could do it.
They did. I mean, obviously Tyler can. They won a late model race a few weeks ago over Langley Speedway, and he's doing well.
It's a wonder to me that a lot of other guys in the late model series wouldn't,
try it every now and then. Trying to get the car. It's so expensive in one car. I know when they used to have the, I don't know if it was the Pro Cups used to come. We had thought about it when we were running late model, but you had to rent one from somebody, and then nobody wants to rent their car to you because then you tear it up, So I understand. Without bringing a lot of money to like a is it Hamilton Scott? H. Scott. I know it's H. Scott's on there. Harry Scott, exactly. Besides bringing a bunch of money to one of their teams and running for them.
Now, Justin was driving for Precision Performance, which is Rick Godovic's car.
Correct.
And he was teammates with Gray Galding. Gray did a decent job. He moved back up and got it.
Well, considering that he had to go back to start in the back, or I forgot what happened there.
I didn't get that. I never heard what it was either.
But he went to the back and had to come back through the field and ended up 4th. I think that's where he was.
Yeah, I think so.
Those.
And the Super Stock race again this week.
Yeah.
Reno Marchetti just way out in front.
I don't think his teammate, ever since he wrecked his teammate's car, his teammate ain't had much for him.
No, they ain't hanging close to each other.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say you probably can't engrave the trophy yet, but
looks awful good.
You probably start on it.
Yeah. I missed part of the Pro Stock or the Grand Stocks. Grand Stocks. I missed part of that. I didn't even see who won that race.
It was Tommy Sweeney, little Mexican guy. He ain't really a little guy. He's crazy, really. But great job. He's a good friend. Sweeney, I think it was his 3rd win of the season. He did well over there. It's good to see your friends do well.
It was good racing all weekend long. Over at let's go back to I guess it was Iowa. Eric Jones finally got the monkey off his back.
Yeah,
and wins the truck race, and then he comes back to Chicago and wins the Xfinity race.
This kid's the real deal.
I think he is. He's got the perfect situation, working with Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing.
They got really good equipment, and then you gotta give a shout out to Matt Kenseth's boy too. Ross.
He ran in the top 10 most of the day. I think he got out a couple times, but he managed to come back in and finish in the top 10.
Yeah, and then he won a race.
He won an ARCA race at Michigan. He won the ARCA race at Michigan, and he
did a good job there. I don't know what team he was running for there. I think
at Michigan he was running for Venturini.
That's right.
And of course at this past week he was with Gibbs, and they say there's no other races lined up for Ross the rest of the season. I think that may change.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it'll change. It'd be a perfect, it wouldn't be on the fact that Matt may get out of the car and let him race it. So.
But yeah, as much as juggling around is going on over there with Kyle not being there, and then you have Eric Jones. It seems that their stable is full. They have a lot of resources to pull from.
We'll see how the movement goes at the end of the year.
It'll definitely be interesting
because I keep hearing more and more rumblings of certain things that are.
That's going to be a huge thing if that truly happens. It's going to blindside a lot of people.
Now I'm hearing, and this came from a good source, and I ain't gonna call no name, but it came from a good source, that now Martin Truex has said he wanted to stay with Furniture Row for next year, but I hear he's being heavily pursued by another team who may do some flip-flopping around a little bit, and I'm talking about Stewart Haas.
Oh, yeah.
Because
think about it.
Harvick and Tony Stewart and Martin Truex, supposedly their wives are real good friends, except Tony don't have a wife, except he shares Kevin's. But I mean, there's a of course Kurt's out on the island by himself because he's basically Haas's driver. But
well, he is, and you got to say, you know, as we heard this weekend from Al, that Kurt seems like a very different person.
Yeah,
he seems, and for Al to say that Kurt is so much better says a lot.
Yep.
But either way, I mean, I think we could pretty much assure that Danica probably will not be there next year.
No, I think that's a done deal. I'm
just curious if Tony is going to continue to drive, or is Tony? I mean, it'd be hard to, if he keeps running the way he is. I mean, that's going to be frustrating. But
you know, Al and I had I don't know if you were up there when Al and I had the conversation about Tony, and he made the comment that Tony is still having some issues somewhere to not be running as good as he is. Now, whether it's car related, mind related.
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything.
But then the word is he needs to come out and speak, because he will not speak. He will not speak. He'll do a quick interview in the garage, but he will not do a sit-down interview in the media center. They've tried to get him to come in the media center, and the word is if he ever finishes in the top 5, he's going to have to come to the media center.
Right.
And then he's going to have to answer some questions that he may not want to answer. And Al says, hey, he owes his fans a little something here to say, look, hey.
Yeah, I think the cars are driving differently with the new rules package, and I think it's going to get worse for him because I just don't think the rules package doesn't cater to his driving. I think he's more of a big horsepower, a lot of downforce kind of driver from the Indy cars, where where now they're cutting the horsepower way back and rolling the corners are much more, keeping momentum up is much more severe, like the nationwide cars.
It's going to be interesting at Kentucky when they do the rule changes at Kentucky.
Because they're cutting the spoiler like
3 inches.
half.
Yeah.
Almost in half.
Yeah.
I think 7 inches now, and they're cutting it down to 3.5.
3 and something, yeah. 3 and something. I forget what it was. But Lee was telling me, my son was telling me the other day that right now they've been told one race to see what it does.
I know, it's kind of, but I don't know what all the rules are. I know the rear spoiler.
And all the spoilers are going to come from NASCAR. NASCAR's going to issue them.
It's like a Butler built, or somebody's going to manufacture it.
So they don't have to, they don't have to worry about that. But some of the things that they're used to, they're going to be, for 1 week, they're going to do something different. And they're kind of.
I mean, I do like the idea of no downforce or less downforce, because to me it does put a little bit more. I mean, almost anybody. I ain't gonna say almost. It's easier to drive a car with a lot of downforce. It's harder to drive a car with no downforce. Plus, it will be less aero dependent.
Yeah.
Which you're never going to get rid of getting a push behind somebody on a big speedway. That's just never going to happen.
That's like they said the other day, that you'll never see that change, and it's always going to be the same way. All right, we're going to call our first guest, Mr. Justin Carroll.
You already hooked up to this?
Yeah, it should be already. Talked to Justin Carroll about his wonderful weekend out at Langley Speedway.
Justin, pick up your phone.
It's Justin Hill. If you can leave me your name and number, I'll return the call soon.
He's big time. He's big time now.
Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's. And I just talked to him earlier, so I mean,
He's big time.
that's just wild.
Uh,
But anyway,
we'll see if he answers this time. Oh, I thought he answered there.
I did too. I was. We gotta do something about these people who don't answer their phones after they tell us they're gonna be there. All right, we'll try it again in just a minute. We got.
All right. Well, let's go and we got talking about the crew chief change on the 3.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody really seen that. I mean, I think we had talked about it a couple of weeks ago that we thought that maybe I didn't think it would come this soon. I thought it would be next year. And I mean, I totally have 100% confidence in Gil Martin and his ability, but I just think there's some.
From what I'm hearing, it's a temporary thing.
I'm not telling you, and I know you probably agree. I think Nick Harris, I think is perfect for him because Nick is not scared. Don't care if he's the grandson of Richard Childress. He'll tell him, look, you need to get up on the wheel.
That's for sure. He'll tell you. Real
And
quick.
those guys have done pretty well in a nationwide series together. I think they've won.
Well, I'm hearing that it's a short-term deal. Right now, the nationwide setup, how they've got the nationwide cars set up over at Richard Childress, are pretty much cut and dried how they're going to finish the year. They're going to be that way. The plans are already in the works for them to stay like that. I hear that next year, Slugger does not want to be on the road every week. That's the word he's put out. He does not want to be on the road. So I'm thinking he's going to eventually.
Teammate, where are they going to put Gil at? Because you already got Brad Parrott, not Brad. Yeah, Brad Parrott is the competition director of the Nationwide Xfinity Series.
I don't know. I mean,
He's temporary crew chief on the 31, and this week is his last week, and then Ryan gets his crew chief back.
Call from 7.
Hey, he called us back.
3, 4, 5, 8, 6, 8.
Justin!
1. Say answer or ignore.
Answer.
Justin!
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
All right, man. Now join us on our Langley Speedway segment, Justin Curl, late model driver from out at Langley, and who made his K&N Series debut this weekend. So give us a little update on how everything went for you this weekend and how pleased you are with how it worked out.
I mean, I'm pretty pleased with how it worked out. I think the end result was real well with 7th being my first time in the K&N sport, but I would have liked to add a top 5, but it was just a great learning experience being in more horsepower and a heavier car and all that. But all in all, the weekend went great. The cars in one piece. I think it was a good weekend.
You did really impress us. We were sitting up there watching. You really impressed us, and you really did a great job for the guys that from Langley Speedway go out there and show you can run with those guys on a regular basis.
I mean, I think everybody was talking about you, to be honest with you. And like, man, we were set up there in the middle box with Richard, and man, honestly, you did a really good job. And I'm sure your phone is probably blowed up. And a few people were surprised. They're like, man, he did a great job.
Yeah, my phone has definitely been blowing up. It was really exciting actually because that was probably one of my best races, and that was the perfect race to be one of my best races. And the whole Precision Performance Motorsports group, they definitely prepared me with a great car. And I mean, during the race it was tight, but all in all, it was a great experience.
Well, probably being a little tight on a long run like that was probably good.
Yeah, it was good. It wouldn't hold the bottom like we needed it to, and I almost pushed the brake front tire off it. They told me to save, and I was saving, but I was trying to, get closer to the front at the same time and just ride. And there for a while, I rode in fifth and then sixth, and just basically rode out in seventh for the whole race. And I just didn't want to fall too far back and then not have a late race caution and be able to catch back up. But I mean, I think it was great.
How hard is it to be disciplined to save the car for the end? Because I don't think some people from sitting in the stands realize that you have to pace yourself on these long runs because you're not going to get tires later. Is that hard to do? Some people are better at it than others.
It was definitely different because I've only been to a few tracks where you really couldn't go forward the whole time or you were going to fall off at the end. But it was, I mean, as a race car driver, you definitely normally would be going as hard as you can all the time. But it was different, but it wasn't too hard. I mean, I think I did it fairly well. I should have saved a little bit more at the beginning, but I don't think it was like I don't think it was too hard to save. I mean, I had Brandon Godovic up there. He raced a little bit of Xfinity and all that. He was fine for me, so he was helping me out the whole time and talking me through the whole race. That really helped.
So how did this whole K&N ride come about?
Basically, probably 3 or 4 months ago, Dad and I talked about it a little bit, and I mean, I thought it was I didn't really think it was possible. I was spending a little bit more money on my late model than I used to. I have a good job now, so I can do that. Me and my dad just put our heads together and try to figure out how we can make this work. And we basically tried to split the cost down the middle between me and him on everything. And the Godovics and them really helped us out. That's who I bought my late model from, and then that's who we looked back about K&N cars from. And they just let us make payments on it all. Like, we kept the car there until it was all paid off, and then we just paid them to set the thing up and help us on the race day and practice day, and they really put a lot of effort into it and made it all possible.
Well, I mean, that's great. I think you did a great job. You should be proud of yourself. Now, do you see any more K&N races for you?
Yeah. I definitely see at least one more this year. We're talking about Motordrome, and we're talking about Richmond. So we'll see. We might go to both. We might just go to Richmond. We might just go to Motordrome. It all depends on how it all falls in place. But next year, I definitely plan on running 6 or 8 races in the K&N series.
So the car is y'all's, right?
Yeah, the car is ours. The motor we rented from Godovic. And basically the rear gear and shocks and all that transmission we rented from them.
Okay.
But the car itself is ours, and over the off season we'll probably buy a motor for it. This is so expensive right now to buy a car, motor, and all that.
Yeah, I think Richmond will be a good race. I think for you, it kind of gives you. Richmond's like a big short track. I know when we went there in the late models, you could feel a little bit of the draft down, like past the start-finish line. So you start to kind of get the feel of what it may be like to go to bigger tracks. It's a good happy medium, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what we're more aiming for is Richmond. That's our goal. Just to get experience on a bigger track, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got planned for the rest of the season as far as your late models? You going to be doing any traveling around, or are you just going to spend all your time at Langley, or what's your plans for the rest of the season there?
I like to travel around. I'm planning on running Langley mostly. I'll definitely most likely be at Martinsville again, and probably go to a big race in South Boston, and maybe some tracks I haven't been to. I like experiencing new tracks. So we might travel around a little bit, but the K&N deal kind of put us on halt from traveling around like we normally would at the beginning of the season because we were focusing on paying for that and all that. But now that that's done with, we might travel around a little bit more.
So what got you started in racing? I mean, I know your dad's has raced for a while. So how did you get started, and what was the first thing you raced?
I got started in racing because I helped my dad with his race car, and I kind of liked it. I wanted to try it, but my dad basically told me I had a job. I was 14. He told me to save my money, and I bought a U-car. It was a little four-cylinder, front-wheel drive, and that was fun. My dad wanted to get me out of that as soon as possible, just for bad habits. I mean, those things are front-wheel drive, so
Right.
they're good for racing, but you're not going to really learn so much in one of those compared to like a late model.
Right.
So after that season, I sold that, and I sat out for a season, saved up, and then I bought a late model. And I mean, I know it was a big jump, but it was probably the smartest thing to do at the time, just because my dad had a bunch of spare parts and all that. So it wasn't too bad to get into a late model. And then basically, this is my third season in the late model, and that's basically how it went. Now I'm 19 years old. So
You're old.
yeah.
For a driver,
Yeah, you're old. Yeah, you're old now, man.
5-6 years ago, you wouldn't have heard of 18, 17 years old in a late model, but now they're 14, 15 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about
Well,
that.
when you're as old as Scott and I, when you say you're 19, well, and you say you're getting older, it just don't resonate well with us.
Yeah.
So what? You're going to run some races around other places. Where are you getting your equipment from for your late model, your motors and everything for that? Where are you getting all that stuff together from?
We basically do it all in-house. Besides the motors, my motors go by Senior Team out
Okay.
of Smithfield.
Yeah.
I bought that from Dodsons. I bought a motor at the beginning of the season, and so I bought one of their late model motors. But the cars, we basically do all the work in-house. We got one paid employee. He really helps us out and works on the cars full time and helps us with setup and all that.
Now you mentioned you want to go 6 races, maybe 6 races next year in the K&N. Are you looking at eventually, hopefully, going full time in K&N?
That would be the goal, and I mean, it's possible for next year. It's not very likely, but it is possible. But I would definitely do that through Precision Performance Motorsports. I wouldn't pull that out on our own. I would run it through their team and just basically supply the equipment and have them set it up and work on it for us.
Well, I think if you have a few more runs like you did this past weekend, I don't think that'll be a problem. I mean, honestly, I think you made a lot of people proud of how well you represented yourself and how well you did with the car. You didn't tear it up, which most people that pay their own bill usually don't tear their own equipment
Yeah,
up.
got that right.
But I think you did. I mean, obviously you did a good job. But I think like I said, I think if you get a few more runs like that, who knows what the future may. Your whole course of life may change.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've been told. I'm just like real humble about it because I was kind of shocked myself. That was my goal, top 10, but I really wanted a top 5, and I felt like we could do it. But I was kind of shocked at the end result. I was real happy with that.
Man, I mean, through the middle of the race, I think everybody was cheering you on. When you were sitting there running, you were running 5th, and then you fell back to 7th, but you had 6th, 5th, and 4th right there in front of you. I mean, they were within. I was like, man, if he could just sit there and ride and save his tires, he can have a good top 5 run here.
Yep, definitely.
So now that you got that behind you, what was it like to go out there and compete with guys like the Rico Abreu that came, the H. Scott people, those guys that that have a lot of money behind them.
They're dominating.
And dominating races, and you were running right there with them with your own stuff. How did that make you feel?
I mean, that was a good feeling. Basically knowing that I had a lot less money going into it than what they did, and being able to beat some of those cars, and I mean, race with them. It was a good feeling, and I felt like I got more respect because of that, because people know
Yeah,
basically
absolutely.
where I was coming from with it, and I didn't have all the financial backing for it. But with Precision Performance Motorsports, I felt like I had a team that was capable of running with those guys that really helped all along.
No, I think you definitely open people's eyes, and people pay attention to the type of equipment you're in and how well you're doing with it, for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Well, we would like for you to go ahead and thank your sponsors and everything that you got, and anybody you'd like to thank, and we'll get back with you again real soon.
Okay, awesome, man. I'd like to thank my dad. He's helped me out a lot for this and Kells Automotive. My boss, Jason Miller, he's helped me a lot. I run a Snap-on tool truck during the week. I'd like to thank the Cadovics. They've definitely helped me get where I am, and Craig Eastup Jr., who works on my car full time through the week. And there's a lot of people who've been there and helped me, and I just want to thank them all.
Well, I tell you what, man, you did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you. We were behind you. We were sitting there. We were excited. I know the guy sitting to my left here, he was very excited. And so it was really good to see. And we appreciate you having time to come on here tonight and talk with us.
Thank y'all for letting me.
All right, man, we're going to get back with you. Go ahead and get us a late model win. We'll have you back on here real soon.
Okay, we're working on that right now, so hopefully we'll be up there.
Well, when you decide what K&N race you're doing, before that race comes, we'll do like a before and after show of how your race went.
Okay, that'll work.
All right, man.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time, man.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
What a good young man.
He's to me, right there, he just seems like, okay, I did good, but
He did.
I know where I stack up right there.
Right, and he's realistic.
Yeah, he doesn't look
And
out there.
sometimes that's hard to see in some people because they just.
And he did say something that resonated in my mind a lot. That's a new word I've learned this week, resonate. But it did stay in my mind a lot, was the fact that he could have saved his tires a little better had he gone a little easier at the beginning. But and you and I probably would do the same thing. We get out there in that situation, we probably run pretty hard to start off with too.
Yeah, man, you're like, man, this thing, I'm running fifth, I mean, I can't imagine the excitement he had in the helmet.
But then to be able to stay there in the top 10 with, like I said, the H. Scott cars.
I think worst he fell back was the 8th. I can't remember where he started.
He was in the top 10.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think he started 8th or 10th. He was in the top 10, but he was right.
But he was fast, they said, in all the practices.
He was 5th in the practice, and Gray was 1st. So, I mean, they had some information to go by, which was, was great help for him. And I commend the kid. He did a great job.
And, I mean, he's running against the Rev Racing guys. They didn't do as good as he did. And,
to me, Rev Racing, they have a lot of equipment. They have a lot of people. To me, they have not stepped up to their expectations with now maybe they don't have the resources they had a few years ago, but I think they're underperforming, to be honest.
Yeah, they in their heyday when they had Darrell Wallace and Kyle Larson.
2 or 3 years ago.
Kyle Larson, and I say their heyday, that was probably when they were the best.
Mm-hmm.
At that point. They're not in that. They're not, the guys they've got now are not in that same category. Not to say they can't be in time.
That's true, and I don't know how much you've been around racing a long time. When you hit upon something and it works, you don't change anything. It seems like for a while because you're scared it's going.
Go the other way.
And then what happens is that no longer works anymore. So then you got to try to figure out what's the next.
Well, it's like Jefferson was telling me Saturday when we were there. What's there today may not be there next year, so you're going to have to go through the whole process again.
That's very true, because it's not only just drivers that come and go, it's crew members for the diversity that they try to feed up the chain.
And at one time over there at Rev, I was thinking about it when I was talking with Jefferson, and it back in the day when they first started out, they had some heavy-hitting people over there with them at Rev Racing. Coleman Presley was there, and he I think he ran a few races with them and tried to show them what they needed to get done. And it was really, they had some good people involved in their organization.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's like everything else. They move on, and
Right.
and you lose that continuity that they had. But this is Kinsey Rustin's second year.
Is there a second? I thought it was like a third year.
This is her second year with Rev.
Okay.
Because she ran 1 year with Ben Kennedy Racing.
That was, year before that, yeah.
And so, that's part of the thing. You don't know what's going to happen next year. They may not be a part of it.
Right.
And but back to Justin, he did a great job to be able to compete with those guys on a regular basis. You had guys like Greg Gaulden and Scott Heckard. I mean, he flat out run Scott Heckard the whole night. I mean, there was no doubt about that. And Scott is he won at Bowman Gray, but I mean, he won a couple races last year and was in the top 10 in points. And he's a H. Scott driver. He pretty much outrun him the whole weekend.
Forgot to turn the light on.
But it's pretty interesting. I mean, it was pretty interesting racing the whole night. And I'm just going to come out and say it. They need to get that 19 off the track, man. That dude was just, I mean,
He was in the way.
he didn't know whether he was supposed to go high or low or what he was doing.
He wasn't
He
consistent.
go high, he hit the wall. He go low, he get in people's way. I mean, it was just. I know you got to start somewhere, but
I think he's past just start.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, in that form of racing, you really don't need that type of situation. And Kaz got bit by it, and so.
And I gotta give it to him. That kid took it way better than I would have.
Yeah.
I'd have been fighting down on pit road with NASCAR and so forth. But
You'd probably turn the car around, went back after.
no, because I couldn't have hit NASCAR because it was their bad call.
Yeah.
It was a bad call.
Yeah.
To me, it was a bad call.
And I think he pretty much thought that too, but he
just took it. Well, that's racing.
That's racing. I'll just keep on trying. And,
I give it to him for that.
But they're going to race out at Sonoma this weekend, so that then he's going to be going. I forgot where he told us he was going with Kyle Busch's late model, and so he's got a lot of. I mean, he's getting a lot of racing, and his goal is he hopes to have the same thing that Chris Bell had. Speaking of rookies, Chris Bell in his first truck race the other night at Iowa finished 5th. In a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
they were talking a lot about that kid.
And so he is. I mean, he's right there. And Kaz is in that group.
And you got to give it to Kyle Busch. I know some people don't like people like to hate Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch loves racing, and he's given a lot of these young kids an opportunity that if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have the opportunity. Eric Jones, Jason Bell. I mean, they would still be trying to work their way up. And there's not many big teams that have as good equipment as they have to give a young kid an opportunity.
I think it's funny. Eric Jones beat him at the Snowball Derby in another car, and he went back and said, "We're gonna get this guy to drive our stuff." Yeah, and he's just and nobody really knows the story, how close Kyle Busch Motorsports came to closing. I mean, they were at that point where it was done. I mean, they were going to run one truck.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much money. And yes, Kyle Busch makes a lot of money, but how much money he has taken out of his own pocket and put in that team.
So that's the reason why he sold. Well, I don't know if you say sold it or he integrated it. His Xfinity cars over to Gibbs and put them in their shop, and basically it's Gibbs cars.
Right.
But now he's stuck with the trucks and the late models.
7, 2, 7, 8, 1, 5, 6, 0, 1, 4. Say answer or ignore.
Hello, Cody Lane. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for calling in. Joining us now on the show is Cody Lane, who soon will hopefully be starting his NASCAR career with a start in the Truck Series at Bristol. But before we get started on that, though, Cody, give us a little background on how you got started in racing. I heard it through your PR girl and through some things that I've heard, online and stuff, that you started when you were like 3 years old. So give us a little background on how you got where you are today.
Yeah, pretty much. My dad raced over modifieds on dirt, and I started. He put me in a go-kart when I was 4 years old, and just moved my way up from there. Just race, go-karts on road course, and then moved my way up to the go-karts on dirt, and then moved my way up to the Bandolero Legend Series, and we did very well with them, and we did very well, but we were just thinking that those cars were getting way too fast for how small they are and just getting very dangerous. So my dad decided to put me in an Opel modified on asphalt. We were living in Tennessee at the time, so we ran that and did very well, going up against a bunch of big guys in Tennessee. And we had some family things going down in Florida, so we decided to move down to Florida and start racing down here. So we started racing the late models and super late models at New Smyrna and Orlando down here. We were doing very well, and we moved up again to the ARCA series, did very well with it, and we were just spending crazy amounts of money, so we wanted to move up to the truck series because not the same money, a little bit more, but it gets you motor exposure. So we're trying to really shoot for this Bristol race and hopefully get my name out there and see how we can do.
Now, your PR girl Katrina sent me a package on you. Give us a little background on what all you got going on so you can get into that race at Bristol.
Pretty much we're trying to get sponsors and get everything going for this Bristol race. We've been working with Katrina, that's my PR lady. She's been sending out proposals like crazy, and also we've been working with Mary B. Allison at the NELA agency, and we've also been working with a couple people at Shock Idea Group. So we got a bunch of people behind me on trying to get everything ready for Bristol, so we're just hoping we can get everything figured out, but the biggest one is trying to find sponsors, and hopefully we can pull it off.
All right, now when you talk about getting sponsors and stuff like that, where did you get your truck? I saw pictures of the truck. Where did you get your truck from, and how are you working on getting motors and all that other stuff for it?
We got a truck from Ricky Benton, who has Black Tire Racing. He's in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
We got the truck from him, and we're trying to get a motor. He has a motor also. And so we're going to be working with them on getting the motor and everything, and so we're just trying to come up with the money so we can get the motor and start putting this truck together.
All right, now I got a serious question. Now I heard your first ARCA race, you were trimming some trees.
Can you repeat that? You're breaking up a little bit.
Now I got a serious question. Now I heard your first ARCA race, you were up in some trees, trimming some trees. What happened?
We were doing very well. We were at Mobile, Alabama, Mobile Speedway, and we were doing very well. We qualified 15th, and with about 20 laps in, we made it up to the leaderboard, about 5th place, and we were doing very well. And we went under caution. Somebody lost their brakes and blew our brake caliper, so we everybody on the spotters told us to check our brakes, make sure we got brakes, and so we did. I said that my brakes were doing fine, and we were supposed to go back green, and then finally that person pulled off, and we went green. About a couple laps later, I picked up the left on the left front tire brake rotor, a piece that they didn't pick up. So it picked up. It actually stuck in the tire and slung it through the hood, but we just, at Mobile, they don't have any walls at that track, so it really hurt us, so we just pretty much did a Dukes of Hazzard off the corner and ended up at the tree line, so it really hurt us, but we were doing very well there.
Hey, I'm impressed he knows the Dukes of Hazzard. You're not that old.
So what are you?
No, only 19 years old.
19 years old. Yeah, you're getting old though. You're getting old. You know, when Scott and I hear somebody say 19, like we told the last guy, we don't accept that too well because we're a whole lot older than that. So what are you racing right now to get? Are you racing anything now to get ready for Bristol?
Yeah, we're been racing, trying to race locally with the super late models, and doing a bunch of racing at New Smyrna, trying to just get ready and prepare to Bristol since it's pretty close to it. So we're really focusing on doing testing and practicing at New Smyrna so I can get used to Bristol when we go.
Now, what criteria did you have to go through to be able to get approved to run the trucks at Bristol?
Yeah, we pretty much had to get approval from Brett Bodine. We've had to give him my whole resume of when I started out in go-karts, 4 years old, all the way up. He did background check on me and pretty much called every racetrack that I've ever raced at and really asked if Cody's really raced now and got approved to run Bristol, Martinsville, Eldora, and those horses. So we got really lucky on getting on Bristol, so we're going to see how we can do, and hopefully we can hang with the big boys.
So what is your plan for the truck series? Are you just running the one race this year, or you've got 2 or 3?
We're really shooting to run as many as we can this year. I know right now I'm only approved for the short tracks and the road courses, so we're really shooting for is running as many as we can. Our biggest issue is just trying to come up with sponsors. If we had sponsors, I could run as many races as I'm allowed. As soon as Brett Bodine, I run a bunch of races. As soon as I get cleared to run bigger tracks like Brett Bodine, then I can move up. It's just trying to get sponsors and trying to get to the track and actually race, and then I can get moved up more and more.
Have you ever, I mean, with your racing background that you told us about, have you ever thought about moving to Charlotte and getting up in the Charlotte area and being around the racing area up there, or is that something you may do in the future, or what do you think? We always, me and my dad were always loving North Carolina and Charlotte area, but we've it's been so hard because my dad has a business down here, a upholstery shop, so it's hard for us to just pick up and move up there. I mean, we would love to down the road, maybe if we're doing very well, maybe move up there. But right now we're just trying to get everything, so we just focused on this Bristol race coming up so we can see how we do and get everything ready.
Now, are you going to hire a crew to take care of the car, or are you guys all going to do all that in-house?
We're going to be running my own equipment, but we're going to be running a crew at the X-Caliper Pit Crew School from Chuck Eastlaw. So we're going to be running a crew from him and see how we can do. We're going to be getting some good guys, so hopefully we can get some good pit stops and do good at Bristol.
Now, what about crew chief and that kind of stuff?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Well, what about crew chief? Who's going to be your crew chief for the truck series?
We got a couple guys who we've had locally down here that's been helping us out a lot. Like my dad, he's done a bunch of this stuff for local stuff. We've been working with Kevin Ingram, who's a crew chief for Chris Fontaine. We're still trying to figure out some details of who we're going to be using, if we're going to use him or what our plans are. We've got a couple guys that we're trying to figure out the details of what we're going to be doing, but we're trying to get everything together. So.
All right. Well, cool. I hope you were able to expand your racing a little more. Maybe you can come up to Martinsville or somewhere like that and race. Because we would really love to see you come up that way.
Yeah, that's on my schedule. It's later in the season, so if we get the money and sponsors and everything, we'll hopefully be in Martinsville. So if we get everything good to go at Bristol and see how we do at road courses because we're shooting 2 weeks after for road courses. So we're seeing how we can do. If we get the money and sponsorship for Martinsville, we're definitely going to come out.
How has the sponsorship hunting been going? Has it been very difficult than what you thought, or has it gone a little better than you thought?
I see that it's very difficult at first, but it's starting to change. Everything's just starting to blow up. Definitely since we started working with Mary B. Allison and the Neil Agency and Stock Idea Group. It's really starting to blow up. We're going to see what turns out. We've got some things coming up this week, so we're going to see how it turns out and see how it goes. But right now it's kind of difficult, but I think we're going to do all right, and hopefully we can pull some things off.
All right, but Cody, tell put it out there to who they can contact, your numbers to contact to try to help you out with some sponsorship. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, and think what people you got with you right now that that are helping you get together.
Yeah, everybody, you can check me out on Facebook, Cody Lane Racing. You can check out my website, CodyLaneRacing.com. I'm on Twitter, Cody Lane. I'm on Instagram, Cody Lane Racing 27. So check me out. You can email me at clane2725@gmail.com, and I can give you more information if you're interested in sponsoring. So just like all my stuff, and hopefully we can pull some stuff off.
Well, we're hoping you do, and hopefully we can see you up here at Martinsville sometime. And I don't know, maybe we might even make it to Bristol to see you race at Bristol. We don't know, but hopefully we'll see you soon. And tell your dad and everybody, I know he's working hard trying to get you some sponsorship, and tell him he's doing the right things, because he sent me that package and everything, and Katrina sent me all that group, all that stuff. I think you got it going on pretty good.
I appreciate it, guys, very much. And you can also, for sponsorship, you can also contact Neil Agency or Shock Idea Group.
Okay, well, cool. Well, we appreciate your time tonight, Cody, and we'll push it along too. Let everybody know that what you got going on, and hopefully we can help you get something and get up here to Martinsville.
I appreciate it very much, guys, and I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Well, thank you a lot, and thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
And good luck with that Bristol race.
Thank you.
Yeah, missed it all the way around, didn't he? He did. I mean, he's got a lot going on.
Sounds like it.
I saw the package. I didn't print it. I just saw it on it's a PDF package she sent me about everything going on. He's got a lot going on. I think he wants to pursue going full time sooner or later. But
yeah, I mean, a young kid, and he seems like he's done well so far, except Alabama race Mobile.
Yeah, you didn't want to talk about that.
No, well, it's probably not a proud moment, which I can understand. But I mean, those things happen. I mean, that's
you'll
just
see it. You'll see it all.
That wasn't of his own doing. I was curious about how the story was, but yeah, I mean, hopefully they can get some sponsorship going and make some races this year. It's nice to see. That's what I like about the truck series. It's not that it is affordable, but it's much more affordable for because there's no more people. You can't do like you did years ago, like Stacy Compton. He bought a Cup car and made 2 races at Martinsville and qualified, I think, 7th in his first Cup race there, and it propelled his career in racing. He was a great local short track racer in our area, and it did very well. But he no more had a shot at that time of getting a ride than nobody did. But he bought a car, and from my understanding, he refinanced a lot of his stuff and gambled on 2 races. And I want to say it was 7, no, it might have been 12, but he was in the top 13 or 14. He qualified in the Cup race at Martinsville, which he had some laps at, so he had some experience there. And that propelled him to a Cup ride, some nationwides, and a truck ride, and now he has a late model team and a truck team.
And back in those days when he was doing that, it wasn't an uncommon thing for certain guys to show up at Martinsville out of the blue that would not normally be there with a chance to try to win a race at Martinsville or at least have a good showing.
Right.
Now I'm talking about the Zavakis car when it would show up at Martinsville. They wouldn't go but anywhere but Martinsville. They wouldn't even go to Richmond. They go to Martinsville, and Butch and Emmanuel and all them.
And their shop was in Richmond.
Yeah, and then he had oh gosh, you hadn't asked me. Butch Lindley that was driving for him.
Bodine.
He drove.
I mean, list goes on a long ways with
Butch Lindley, but he came there and just showed up and raced that race for Zavakis, and I think he finished like in the top 10 and had a great race in a car that is not.
But that won't happen today.
No, it will not happen today. There's no.
But it's in the truck series where you got to get approved. Yeah, I don't think Stacy Compton had to get approved for Martinsville in a Cup car. You couldn't do that. I don't think you could do that today.
No, but the thing about there at Martinsville, he had plenty of laps around Martinsville, so they probably. That's a lot of reason why a lot of guys would go to Martinsville. They had the laps there. They knew what it was like.
They felt like they could somewhat be on an even playing field.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Hensley.
Oh yeah.
Go there. He could go there.
Sit on the outside pole in Earnhardt's car.
Yeah, so I mean,
he was standing around.
So I mean, that was unbelievable that you.
And he looks just like he did 100 years ago, and he does today when you see him. Because he's always at Martinsville for Cup race mostly.
Yeah, but it's you just see that. I remember coming home from Martinsville one weekend, and we stopped at the Western Steer there in Danville, and Lenny Pond and Butch Lindley and all of them were sitting there at the table when we walked in. Me and the guy walked in there, and they were all sitting around. And both of those guys, I think this is one of the early times. Lenny hadn't won his race yet. He won a race at Talladega. So I mean, he hadn't won his race, and they went down to Martinsville and thought they were pretty good.
Yeah. But that's what the truck series does now. It seems like this kid Cody Lane, he's going to make a debut at Bristol. And it's a big deal. Or Martinsville. Those things. It's a great stepping stone.
Bristol's going to be, for the first time there, it's going to be a little bit of a.
I tell you, the first story I heard about Bristol, I used to, when I was helping some late models, we used to have Bob Ingram Jr. test for us and help us with the car. And he told me his first time in the Busch car when they showed up to Bristol. Well, Bill Gwynn was their motor guy, and I don't know if you know Bill Gwynn. Mm-hmm. Hyper. He's like on gear 12. He said he come in the window. He says we called Bob Jr. was BJ. You're only 2 seconds off the pace. He's like, you mean 2/10? He's like, no, 2 seconds. He's like, you just can't imagine how deep you can drive it in the corner and then get back in the gas. And he said, he finally went back out in the next practice and started following Mark Martin, and it's like you just couldn't believe that you could drive it that deep down in the corner. It's like I think.
You have to have a whole new perspective on things.
Ricky Dennis's dad, Bill Dennis, said the first time he went to Daytona, the first couple of laps, he had to take his left foot and hold it over on top of his right foot to keep from lifting going in the corner, because you don't lift at Daytona. You just hold it to the floor.
Yeah, I would.
It kind of goes against what you've done.
That's what they were saying the other day when, what was it, Michigan, where they were talking about, did you let off? And I didn't let off, but then they went back and played it, and you could tell he let off a little bit. It was really cool. Anyway, thanks for watching tonight. We're going to leave the sauna.
Yeah, we're going to get in the truck with some AC.
Yeah, we're going to go find some AC, but thanks for watching. Yeah. We'll be back again next week.
Yeah, next week I'll say congratulations to Justin Carroll. Did a great job at Langley Speedway. I'm sure his phone is blowed up. And if you're looking to invest into a truck team or sponsor a truck, I'm sure you could probably get a good deal on Cody Lane Racing's team. I'm sure you could get a good bang for your buck. So go check those guys out, like their Facebook page.
And before we go, I want to thank Langley Speedway, Bill Mullis, Pepsi, the Zims Foundation.
Yeah, you're going to like our page with a couple people we give some prize packs to this weekend.
Courthouse Imports and Sauna.
Yeah, good for your weight loss.
And who else? Miller. What is it? Seamless Gutters.
Miles of seamless.
Miles of seamless gutters.
Miles of seamless gutter. I'd like to thank those guys. We got some stuff. I want to thank when we picked up a Champ cart, a Rage Champ cart. I thank Jeff and those guys out at Rage, and then Paul up in Richmond at Chesterfield. And I went and picked the cart up. And once we get that all put together, and we'll announce it and have some big stuff. But I want to thank those guys, Paul and Jeff out at Rage. If you want to go get a cart, first class act, and they were really nice. And we're actually waiting on another one for a friend of mine to be delivered today or tomorrow. So go check those guys out if you're looking for a nice Champ cart.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.